So anyway, I don't have handouts or anything like that. My name is Joeal Witt. I'm here at Podcamp. Does anybody have cameras on? I always wanted to do something here. You have a camera, pull it out. And aim it at me. I want everybody to take a picture at each other real quickly. And in the whole room so I can have this room. On the count of three, is everybody ready? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Mine's hold on. I gotta do it again. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Fabulous. All right, good. Well, this session is called Thinking Like a Producer. And basically, it's just kind of some of our experiences that we've had at the Maryland Zoo. I work at the Maryland Zoo as a communications and advertising manager. And we started a show in the last few months called MarylandZoo.tv. And it's basically kind of an extension of what we're doing at the Maryland Zoo. Obviously, the animals, we've got a great intellectual property there, which our animals are very interesting and all that stuff. So it actually came out of the idea that I was pretty depressed with my job a little while back. Changes were happening at work. And I kind of hit an all-time bottom blow, and I went into my coworker and said, I think I'm going to try to get myself fired. They tried talking me out of it, but I was dead set on getting myself, this is not a joke, I really said this. I was going to try to get myself fired. They tried to talk me out of it. I went and told my dad, I'm kind of depressed with my work. I'm not happy with what's happening there and everything, and I think I'm just going to try to get myself fired. And my dad's like, it's probably not a good idea. Anytime I come with struggles in my life, I just give it my all. I go through it and I push through. I said, all right, well, if I'm not scared about getting fired, I might as well do something that may end up getting me fired, at least I'll have fun doing it in the process. Because the zoo, as an institution, is a very conservative place. And very conservative people, and they don't, new media to them is kind of a foreign subject, let alone one they want to embrace. Very much a destination place. Come to the zoo, see the animals, all that stuff. But I have this idea that the zoo can be more than just a place for a destination. It can be an experience beyond that, where people can come to the website and see different things about the zoo beyond just come to the zoo and see the animals. So that kind of launched us into this whole show idea and creating a podcast for the Maryland Zoo. So I'm just going to go through a couple things we're learning so far. And obviously, I'm not any guru or anything. This is some things we learned about thinking like a producer and starting to think in these kind of ways. And I'll try to go through the story. Any questions so far? I was in Chris's presentation earlier, so now I'm really nervous to make sure I get all those points right. One of the key things when you're thinking like a producer, and I don't know, how many people here do like you're a blogger, just straight up blogger? How many people do like actual video or audio podcasting? I would think that some of this stuff would apply to all this stuff when you're thinking about, is there anybody here that works for a company, that you work a 9-to-5 job and you're either creating new media for them or you're thinking about it or okay, cool. And everybody else is like freelancers, or what's the deal with that? Okay. Having a clear vision for what you want, I think, is critical when you're thinking about doing a production, video or audio or whatever. Because, there's a picture of Howard Schultz here, and I read his book. It's a great book. If you get a chance to pick it up, Pouring Your Heart Into It or something like that. So it's on Amazon, you can get it. But it's a great book because in the book he talks about his vision for Starbucks. And it was much more than just a cup of coffee. He came to Starbucks when it was just a company putting bags of coffee in grocery stores. And he had this vision of, when he went to Italy, he saw that they were having all these coffee houses where people were talking in the mornings and socializing, a whole social aspect to it. He thought, I want to bring that to the United States. And he went back and tried to pitch the people that were there, running Starbucks at the time on it, and they were kind of like not interested. So eventually he bought the company and was able to launch Starbucks to what it is more like today, where it's an actual store you go in and you buy a cup of coffee in the morning and go to work. So he had a very clear vision, and he has a story in his book, which is why I have his picture up here, of him walking around Chicago with his employees when they first started Starbucks, and he's saying, you know what? He's looking out over the whole city. He's like, I can see in a couple of years everybody hustling and bustling around. You see all these random coffee cups they're holding in their hands. They're going to be holding Starbucks coffee cups. His whole employees started laughing. I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. But he had such a clear vision of what he wanted in his mind that he communicated with the staff and the people around him. And Chicago actually was one of their first places they branched out from Seattle. It was like Vancouver, Chicago. And Chicago exploded, and people, even in Chicago to this day, sometimes get confused. They think Starbucks is a Chicago company because it was so prevalent there so early on because of Howard Schultz's vision. Obviously, Starbucks is huge today because of that. Anyway, what does that have to do with being a producer? If you have a clear vision like that, I just use that as an illustration. A clear vision is something that is very important. It's something people can get a rally behind and can come and make something happen. You lay it out very clear. That's what true leaders and true inspiring producers do. Also, Chris Brogan hammers on this all the time, is if you have a clear vision of maybe not just a show or a product, but something beyond. Howard Schultz had an idea of something beyond just a cup of coffee and experience. You are not your show or your content. You're the brand, or your company, or whatever you're doing is beyond that. That's the brand. Does that make sense? Any questions? Not cool? I don't want to keep rambling. You've got a question. The next thing I would say, I think like a producer, hire smart people, or bring smart people on. Maryland Zoo TV is totally volunteer right now. People are helping me with it. Obviously, 5th graders are smarter than all of us now, improvement on television. So you can hire a 5th grader or up if you got somebody smarter than you on the team. But it drives me nuts. I don't know why, but people are afraid to get people that are a lot smarter than them. I don't want people that are less smarter than me. I want them all to be smarter than me, because if I bring them on board and they're not smarter than me, then I'm pretty screwed, because I'm not that intelligent. I know how to edit on Final Cut Express a little bit, stuff like that, but I can't do After Effects and graphics and those kind of things that we need to expand things into. So, in thinking about being a producer, get smart people. I was really fortunate. How we did it with Maryland Zoo TV is we put posting on all the college websites. Hey, we're looking for a new media internship, and you can come and you can be part of the zoo, and you can make new media podcasts, and it's just kind of all under the guise. The executives of the zoo had no clue I was doing this at the time. I think they know what's going on now. They've seen some of it, but I don't think they know the extent of what we're doing yet. So hopefully they're not watching this. I'll get fired when I go back. Anyway, so this guy comes to me in like March, right? Jordan Bronner. He sits down with me, and I kind of have a vision for what I want to do with Maryland Zoo TV. It's like basically the whole podcast and everything. Set up a camera, have a host, talk to the camera, and then he has some B-roll. Boom, we're done. And he comes with a whole list. He's like, hey, this is what I think we should do. I know how to do Final Cut Pro. I'm like, oh wow. And he's like really excited about this thing. I'm like, all right, I'll see what this guy can do, because he's obviously smarter than me. So I let him bring some of the ideas to the table. It made the show, the content we were doing, so much better, because obviously he's a smart guy. And another guy we brought on in too, Brett, he's another college guy. Well, actually, Jordan just graduated. He's looking to kind of get into this whole space professionally. And then Brett Woolridge is still working in college, going through his degree. But he's also a lot smarter than myself too with this kind of stuff. He's got a lot of great ideas and things. So these guys are kind of the heart and soul of the show that we're doing, which is great. So I think as producers, the one thing, as freelancers or whatever, we want to do everything ourselves. We want to grab a hold of everything and try to do it ourselves. Oh, I can do that so much better than you. Give up control. Just let it go. Just let it go as much as possible. And it's hard. It's hard for me to like let things go, but I find when I do, it like really grows and becomes so much better than anything I could have done on my own. So I think I'm rambling. Go ahead.
Yeah, please interrupt me. I heard this, and I get into some ventures myself, and the best quote I've heard on the subject is, hire your strength to leverage your weakness.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, hire your weaknesses to leverage your strengths.
Okay.
It's the other way around. But it's, yeah, it's...
And what does that mean?
Well, if you have a weakness in whatever business you're in, hire people to fill that void, because you obviously can't do it. And then that will help you to leverage what strengths you do have.
I would even say take maybe that one step further, even bring people on board that are even good at what you do, you're good at. You can do it even better than you. Because then you're you know what I mean? I would say on all levels, not even your weaknesses. I don't know. That's me. Yes.
Back in the old days, before equipment was inexpensive and small, compact, you didn't have a choice. I mean, you did hire lighting people, sound people, editors, went into expensive facilities, and so forth. So there was a natural kind of teamwork. You're always trying to hire the best person.
Absolutely.
To do the job. Makes sense.
I think the danger is with web video is it's so easy. We feel we can do it all ourselves. And that's probably what I would say that's probably the challenge, because it is like ubiquitous. Everybody can get a hold of a camera.
Yeah, one of the other things, excuse me. A lot of times, I'll be lecturing in college or something, and people in master's classes, actually some people that teach here, they want to learn how to use Final Cut Pro and even know how to use Adobe, and they're learn how to use just like one piece of software. And the thing is, if you don't know how to use something, get somebody who does. Okay, because you're going to be spending, in most cases, months and months just to try to be able to negotiate some piece of software. And it's a very small piece of what you're trying to put together, whether it's a video podcast, whether it's a small film, whether it's just a blog site. Get somebody that actually knows what they're doing with that software, or knows who to call to give you a hand to get you through that stuff. Because taking all those months just to try to learn this stuff so that you can do the whole package. So.
Absolutely.
Just got a quick question. Just I get like so much trouble with trying to create a budget for like new media projects. Like there's one coming up, and the idea that they have is like they're going to do this thing. It's huge. It's going to be blah 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 interactive, and they're going to spend $10,000, and that includes like how much me and 3 other people are going to charge.
Yeah.
And it's so unrealistic, and I don't know, this hardest thing that comes time and time again is like create a budget, because they think it's free, and it sort of seemingly is really simple and free, but it's not really a question about how much do I charge, but like how to create a budget. Because I'm sure you came across that early on.
Because I work at the zoo, we have some resources in order we can I work there, so I can borrow the resources that I have available to me. For example, I manage the graphic communications office, so I have access to the Macintosh computers there. So I have access to resources in that way. So the budgeting process for us was very different. I'm using interns. And again, when my initial vision was a lot more low-key than what we're going to do, than what we ended up doing, I should say. So, I figured it wouldn't take a rocket scientist to come and hold a camera or do some editing. But I was looking for somebody that was smarter than me in that. But the budgeting process really wasn't an issue, I guess. We haven't come against a budget yet. We are starting to come up against a little hard cost now. But it was basically funded out of my own pocket and the zoo. I mean, we just kind of did it that way. I bought a couple mic cords and a mic and like an adapter. And it's very guerrilla style the way we shoot it. I mean, I think it looks good. I like the look of it. But I mean, we don't spend a lot for lighting or anything like that. It's very. I have one that I can show you guys later. Would you like to see his hand? All right, I'll show you. All right, next thing, I'll just keep moving through this so we can get that done. You can ask my question. Targeted audience. We're lucky at the zoo because we have 15,000 members, so it's a built-in audience for us that we can send an email to and say, hey, go check out our web show, Now we haven't, because I'm kind of struggling with this whole rogue, dark project that the executives don't technically know what I mean, they kind of have an idea, but they don't know. I haven't sent this mass email out yet because I want to make sure all my ducks are in a row before I do. Make sure my desk is cleaned out and my car is loaded. But one thing is, if you target audience, you also want to be out among them. I know, social networking makes this possible, and then also, our website. I'm really trying to get the zoo to open up and think about developing a social network that we can have on the zoo site, where people can come and share zoo stories and be part of a community. All our members are offline right now. I keep showing them, like, man, the zoo's experience. You gotta get free. Be dramatic in the, if you can, even if it's a small, and not all of our shows are really great stories, but we try to always get like a little bit of a story arc in it. Like the example I'll try to show in a minute is, it's our camel episode, and you're kind of building up to me riding a camel, and like kind of asking questions about it. But it's something to build towards, like, a climax of the actual narrative arc that you can build towards. And we also are now starting, they've evolved. You can look at episode 1 versus episode, I think we're on like 8 now, how we've evolved and kind of tried to make it better as we go. I mean, episode 1 was just like literally turn the camera on, interview a keeper, and show some B-roll, kind of like what my initial vision was. And Jordan and Brett have really taken us on to the next kind of show level. Like it was kind of more like a television program rather than just a podcast. But we always are asking people for like anecdotes. Like we're asking, hey, keeper, don't just tell us about an animal. What's a great story you have about Dolly, one of our elephants? So that they can expand and tell a story, because people love to hear stories more than they just like to hear facts and figures and stuff like that. So stories are really cool to do. tell the story. Keep it simple and focus on quality, I think, are the two keys. Keep your production stuff simple. I don't think you need to, I mean, yeah, lighting would be great. I mean, we're talking about maybe getting a boom, so I'm not holding a handheld mic maybe, or things like that, but then you're getting more people involved and you're starting to complicate the whole thing. It's going to take longer to do, it's going to be harder, it's going to start costing money. So we're trying to keep it as simple as possible, but yeah, we're striving for quality. We shoot right now, we just got an HD20, which is a little high definition camera. It's like $900 that we're shooting with, which is another hassle in itself, trying to convert the HD and edit it and back out to the thing. Keep it simple. I think high production values do matter. I know that the web is all about just do it, just go out there and do it, and I think we should just go do it. I think that's the first step, like kind of what we did, just go out there and start doing it. And we actually shot like 3 shows and threw them away. This is crap. We just started doing it, and it was like, we were like, okay, we need to change some things. It wasn't really that great. But I do think that you need to be working towards making the content better, because I think it helps your audience. Because they're used to seeing stuff on regular TV. It's really like Discovery Channel is great, HD and all that stuff. So we're trying to not necessarily compete directly with them, but at least give them not such an abrupt, jarring thing. And maybe that's the wrong approach, but I don't know if there's ideas on that. 320 by 240 is the way we should go, or HD is cool to distract for. We also are trying to do something, and you'll see it in the Camel thing, is we call them, for lack of a better term right now, we're calling them cinematic moments, where we kind of break from the man on the street approach, and we're trying to, like, we have like a voiceover, we're kind of go like a documentary style, where, like I'll be walking or something like that, and then like we have a voiceover and kind of like a little mini movie inside the show to try to like just drive like a narrative again, like a little cinematic portion. And it's hard. Some shows don't lend themselves very well to doing something like that. The Camel one did, but we're really trying to infuse our shows with that kind of stuff. It seems to help. And then using music effectively, I think, is also critical. If you can take music and really make it usable, for the way that it just like the music. And sound. I think sound, and I'll say this, and maybe it's controversial, but I think sound is like 90 or 95% of a video. I'm serious. Like, it's like everything. If you can't hear the person, or you can't hear people that are talking, and you can't hear what's going on, then I think the video is not worth anything. I mean, yeah, it's great you can see it, but I mean, it kind of seems counterintuitive. It's video, but I think sound is so critical to that. So we really try to focus on getting good sound. And right now we got a mic in the shot, but at least you can hear us. I think that's what's key for that. So the next thing is, am I going too fast? I'm just trying to get through so you can ask questions and then all that stuff. Chris, how am I doing? Good.
Go faster.
This is the last slide actually, so I'm done. Connect the dots and push the boundaries. I think as a producer, when you're thinking about content, if you can think about the next step or the next thing that you're trying to go for, as a producer, you can't be worried too much about the little nitpick edits and all that stuff. You're trying to think about the big picture. You're a leader in the sense that you're empowering others to do great work. And so that's kind of what I'm always trying to think is, how can I make these guys do better work? And how can we expand the show and not just the show, but the Maryland Zoo in general, like the social networks and stuff like that. So Mike Wen, a guy that I met here at boot camp in April, runs a magazine in Baltimore. He'd flown up. He runs scenebaltimore.com and called me up after last boot camp. He said, hey man, we should get together. I live in the same town as you. So we got together and we've been talking a lot. And he's got a great magazine, great website. He does podcasting. I actually host one of his podcasts on there called Around the City. We go around and interview people in the city and stuff. But he said, I'm on Comcast on demand now. They're picking me up for some of my stuff because they're really looking for local content. Wow, that's great. What's the guy's name? He gives me the name number. I call him. I'm like, hey, this is Joeal from Maryland Zoo in Baltimore. I've got this new show, on iTunes and the web we're working on. Would you be interested in, putting this on Comcast on demand? Yeah, I'll meet with you. So we met with them. Long story short, they decided to accept our show. They've ordered 9 episodes. They're not paying us for it. They're giving it to us for free, but it's not really big money for them. But we're now on, I don't know how many, it's 500,000 homes or whoever subscribes to the digital cable package in the Baltimore region up into Maryland and all that. Now can find MarylandZoo.tv on there as well. Yeah.
I just want to really highlight what you just said because you kind of glazed over like everyone would do that, but you called, you made the effort, you reached out to this person. You didn't go, God, I hope someday my show's on Comcast on demand. So yeah, it goes with your thinking. I mean, that was cool that you thought to jump out there and put yourself out there.
Yeah. And then for the guy Rick, when he came to meet with me, I like bludgeoned him with questions for like 2 hours straight. I didn't let him talk. I'm like, okay, so how does this work? How's cable work? And I like asked as many questions as I could because I wanted to know how cable and all that whole interface works. And it's pretty interesting what they're going to be doing with Comcast is doing with cable in the near future. And as podcasters, we may want to think about extending our brands onto that platform. I know we're like, oh, that's the greatest, and TV's kind of, but I mean, there's like my grandmother, my parents, they're not really that web savvy, you know. My parents are a little bit better, my grandmother's. But, you know, they would probably be willing to click on TV and try to find the show we're doing, rather than, you know, obviously the internet. Two of my grandmothers have never run the internet in their lives, and they're touched the computer. But they obviously watch TV every night, so it's something that can reach out to a broader demographic when you're thinking about different platforms.
And how do you edit, or did it work on both platforms?
It's like a 5 or 7 minute thing, and we're having a little bit of trouble with that because it's a file that we give for like iTunes and stuff, and the HDV, because we're using a Canon HDV, we're having a struggle. We can't find forums or anything to help us code it for. So it's a little bit of a, on Comcast, a little bit of a shuddering, because I think our frame rate, because we're shooting in 24 frames per second, which is real technical garbage, doesn't know any of this. But anyway, so it is giving a little challenge. But same shots, we just re-encoded for that. It's the same show. It's not any different for Comcast. But it's really cool because now it's opened us up, because Comcast is trying to sell sponsorship around this and then split the revenue with the zoo. So they're looking to like bring in like PNC Bank or a big, you know, somebody that's, because PNC's trying to get into Baltimore or like a whoever, other big business or whatever is trying to, the zoo's trying to get PNC. I don't know if Comcast is trying to get. We're trying to work on meetings Wednesday about it. We're trying to like get together and figure out a sponsorship model for this and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that'll pan out as well. They're banking on it, so I'm banking on it too then. But anyway, that's about everything. If you have more questions.
I have a bit of a technical question.
Sure.
You said you're having a problem with the frame rate.
Yeah.
Are you shooting 24pn or 24p?
Again, this comes back to my point number
That doesn't.
two. Higher you smarter than you. I think it is. You're asking me, is it progressive or not
Well,
progressive?
no, both are progressive, but one's native. It's like with the HDV cameras, it allows it to be true 24 frames per second.
It's not true. I know it's not. It takes the first and 15th field or something like that.
Okay,
You know
so
that much.
okay.
Getting smarter. But yeah, it like takes whatever, like 1 frame and 15 frames later, or 10 frames, whatever that is. That's not true, right?
Well, it's 30
Like-
frames, and they flag certain frames to take them out.
Exactly. It does that. Whatever that is.
Okay. That makes sense. 24p.
Okay. So yeah, we're shooting 24p on our show. Will we shoot it again? You mean like with a gun?
I was giving you a chance to show that cameras.
Yeah, let's do that. Nice. Notice a segue here. Let's use this for the presentation next time. Yeah, we'll show this. Hopefully the audio is going to work. Oh, maybe I should jack it.